Alright, so is everybody ready to get triggered today? We're going to talk about Battle Royale. Alright, so this is, okay, before I get into this, side note, I've been wanting to talk about some of these things for a long time, but if you follow my channel, I don't honestly upload very much. A lot of it was mainly just due to my job, but the other part of it was I didn't have an actual mic. Now, the mic that I'm using is not the best quality. I mean, it works. I paid $20 for it, but just for financial reasons, I don't have the money to be spending $200-300 on the high-end microphones that'll pick up pretty much anything, like the ASMR microphones. I just can't afford them, so this is just going to have to work. I don't make money off of YouTube, and I'm not going to spend that kind of money on it. And plus, this is just for fun. This is more on time that I have off. So, whatever. Anyway, so let's jump right into it. Battle Royale. So, I was never into PUBG much. I played it a little bit, but I just didn't really get into it. I enjoyed the game. I appreciated it for what it was worth, but I just didn't spend very much time on it. Now, me and a couple of friends had introduced... a few friends had introduced me to Fortnite. Of course, we all know what Fortnite is. A few coworkers were playing it, and we just got onto it. Now, I still remember the very first time that I played it, I wasn't really familiar with what was going on. I was just kind of thrown into it and then said, there you go. I didn't really have any experience with any type of Battle Royale game, but this was really the game that I think made it big for everyone, because I think it is still the big thing. I think it's dying down for the most part, but Fortnite's still way up there on how many people are playing it right now. It's pretty crazy. I definitely was not crazy about just having the one life kind of thing, but I mean, I was pretty ignorant to the whole concept of Battle Royale. I gotta say, though, I have spent quite a bit of time on Fortnite, not near as much as some others, but I spent a lot of time on it, and I did more or less get sucked into it, because I gotta admit, I mean, the dances are entertaining. The overall gameplay is good. I like I don't want to call it backstory, but the goofy costumes and some of the cutscenes that they do to change the map. Everything's always changing. I think it's interesting, and it does keep it interesting. Don't get me wrong. It's not the style that PUBG goes for. PUBG is more of a serious tone. It's more closer, I don't want to say it's closer to life, but it's more of a realistic standpoint, versus Fortnite being the cartoony kind of thing. But the cartoony thing and being free, of course, attracts more people, and there's a lot more kids on it as well. I can't tell you how many squeakers I've found on just playing randos, but yeah, it is what it is. I don't have excuse me, I don't have a lot of wins. I think the last time I checked, I only had 20 wins. There was a coworker that I had that claimed he had 900 wins. I don't believe him, but it is what it is. I also do other stuff, and I play other games, and anyway. If Fortnite as itself, I wanted to kind of do my own review on it, but there's honestly not much point in it, so I just wanted to talk about it. I still enjoy the game for what it's worth. I mean, I enjoy it as something that you can hop in with a couple of your friends and just, whether if you're trying to win or if you're just messing around, it's fun to do. But the essence of, or the concept of the whole Battle Royale thing is not something that I'm used to, and it's also not something that I think is where I would thrive, so to speak. I grew up, I don't want to say grew up, but when I first started playing online, I always tell everybody this, but little known fact, my very first online game ever, across any platform, growing up, my first online match playing against anybody was the original Xbox Halo 2 free-for-all on Ivory Tower. Needless to say, I sucked pretty bad, but that was my first match. I'll probably never forget that. And I just remember my very first match. It was just such a rush. Like my adrenaline was going, and it's like, I'm playing against other people, and it was a very strange feeling when I first got online. I've been gaming for so long. I mean, I'm pretty numb to that kind of thing because I can, you can get on any time. And I just play it. And it's like, it's not that same thrill anymore. What I did like, however, about Fortnite though was that it was a similar rush because, like the memes say, you get down to the last 5 people and you go into panic mode because you really want to get that win. And it is a good feeling, and I give Fortnite that the whole the BR concept is there is a certain amount of thrill to it. I will admit that there is a bit of thrill factors to it. Ultimately, though, I just don't think it's where I thrive, and it's not what I'm used to. I'm used to free for all, TDM, CTF, other types of game modes like Annex from Gears of War or King of the Hill type things. What I've always said the more time that I spent on Fortnite was that not necessarily the problem with it, but one of the problems that Fortnite has is that you spend too much time staring at a loading screen, trying to land somewhere, and then waiting in the lobby. Where the issue comes from is that you don't spend as much time correcting, because I would go as far to say as much time as I spent on Halo 2, that was the first game I started online, and I played even more whenever the Master Chief Collection came out. The difference is let's say if you're playing free-for-all and you have infinite lives, whenever you go into and engage another player and say, okay, you make a mistake, okay, so you die, you come back, and then you correct that mistake. You can essentially not learn, but you can learn let's say if it's just one player, you can kind of learn what he's going to do in order to counter that. Mortal Kombat is actually a great example, because if you play it enough, you'll know what the characters are capable of, and if you're playing the same person, you know how they play, and they typically don't change. One of my buddies that I used to always play MK with, whenever he would play with a certain character, I knew exactly what he was going to do, and he became extremely predictable. So the thing with that is that you can get in and you can adjust, you can change and adapt to what you're going to do in order to win against your opponent. So back to Halo, it was kind of the same thing. When I first started playing, I always had an issue over adjusting the aiming because my sensitivity was too high. So I go in, bring it down some, correct it, and then re-engage. And that usually helped. The problem with Fortnite is that you really can't do that, because you make one little mistake, you're dead, you got a load screen, ready back up, sit there for who knows how long, another load screen, wait 10 seconds for the whatever, wait another 10 seconds for the bus to drive over, then another 10 to 15 or longer seconds to drop somewhere, find a gun, and then try to go from there. And then more often than not, you get clapped before you're even on the ground for 60 seconds. And it does not allow you that adjustment time. And I think that that's why it took me a lot longer to get decent. And I won't even say I'm good at Fortnite. I'm okay at it. But it's also one of those things too. You make the slightest, just the most wrong move, you're gone. And another big issue that I have with it is you sit there and hack for materials for just so long. You spend the majority of the game and you get all the good stuff. You might get a couple of chests with good loot in them, and You just start running on your merry way, try to get to the circle, and then some random guy just happens to get a good snipe on you, and you're dead. And all that work went to nothing. So I think all of this is obvious at this point, but I just wanted to express how I felt about it. But again, that's just me. I think that it's not my favorable type of game. The BR style is just not where I thrive in, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that well, I mean, obviously there's better games out there for me, so it's just my opinion. There's nothing. I'm not trying to bash it like a lot of people do, and I understand why Fortnite gets the hate that it does, because in all honesty, I started to hate it too for a bit. I mean, it is a love-hate relationship. It's a game where I think it just takes a special person. And I will say that I do have more patience for the most part than most people, because I kept trying. Even though I dying after dying, I still tried more. And I can honestly say I try more than, maybe not at this point in time, because I have put Fortnite down. I stopped playing it. The past couple of weeks I'm moving on to some other stuff. But I mean, I'm still willing to get on if that's what everybody's playing. But there's too many people that I know that just kind of gave up on it completely. I understand the frustration in it, but it's something that has definitely changed the gaming world. It's definitely different. It's a different experience, but ultimately, I just don't think it's for me. I have always been a single-player type gamer. I've always been real big into, especially like in the early N64 days, because that's when I started, was on a Nintendo. I played like some racing games like Mario Kart, but I played a lot of like Turok. Turok was one of my all-time favorite games. I'm still thinking about doing a playthrough on the Xbox version. Things like that. It wasn't until, well, even still, when I got the Xbox, all the games I played were all single player because I didn't have online for quite a while. It wasn't until way after that I actually got online. So the Halo games, played a lot of Battlefield, too many other titles to count, but I was always into single player. It wasn't until I finally got internet that the online gaming is kind of where I transitioned to. Halo and Battlefield were the main ones that I started to play. Those games were where I spent most of my time on. So being able to respawn, readjust, I think that's how I got better. And that's where I spent a lot of my online gaming too. So, all these years of basically just playing the same games, doing shooters like Halo, Battlefield, Gears of War is my biggest one, especially for those who know me. Gears of War is one of my favorites. Any kind of game like that, I always thrived in for the most part. I always favored those types, and then whenever this Battle Royale type thing comes out, and then I try it, I guess to no surprise, I'm terrible at it, so... but overall, it's just my thoughts. I'm not putting anybody down on it. It is a fun game to an extent, but it does come with its flaws. It is extremely frustrating, and sometimes it's like, why do I even bother? And one of the buddies that I play with has said the same thing, and I'm not going to mention names just for the sake of, I don't know if they want to be named or not, but whatever. But, and it's actually come from several people, not just one, but it's come from several people. It's extremely frustrating, like how I mentioned earlier. You spend all this time hacking away for resources, and, you get shot when you don't even have a gun to defend yourself, and then it's over. It kind of sucks. But I guess that's the game. I guess that's the... I guess it's just a different animal. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed. We'll be getting some more content out soon. Let me know what you guys think, and we will see you in the next video.